Right now, somewhere beneath the Atlantic Ocean, a pulse of light is carrying your data through a cable thinner than a garden hose. Not through a satellite, not through the cloud, through the seabed, and here's the number that stops people cold. Around 99% of global internet traffic travels this way. Not some of it, not most of it, virtually all of it. The world feels wireless. Your phone has no cord. Your laptop connects to nothing visible. But underneath that experience is a physical reality that almost nobody thinks about. There are 485 multi-terabit per second undersea cables spanning the world's oceans, crossing the Atlantic, threading through the Indian Ocean, looping around the Pacific. Every search, every stream, every payment you made today almost certainly passed through one of them. The wireless world is, at its foundation, wired to the ocean floor. Pull up a map of the global undersea cable network, and it looks like a circulatory system. The cables don't spread evenly, they cluster. And the reason comes down to geology and physics, not planning or politics. Cables can't come ashore just anywhere. They need accessible coastline, proximity to major population centers, and critically, the right underwater terrain leading up to the beach. That combination is rarer than most people expect, so cable landing points concentrate in specific locations, and certain coastal spots keep appearing on cable maps decade after decade. The geography doesn't change. Once a location proves viable, every new cable operator looks at the same coastline and reaches the same conclusion. The result is that a handful of tiny, often obscure places end up sitting at the center of the global internet. Villages that most people couldn't find on a map are, in a very real sense, the hinge points of modern civilization. Here's the counterintuitive part. The deep ocean is where these cables are safest. In deep water, cables rest on a relatively flat seabed, away from rocks, fishing trawlers, and ship anchors. The dangerous zones are the shallow coastal approaches, that final stretch where the cable crawls up the continental shelf and onto a beach. That's where most damage historically occurs. So cable engineers spend enormous effort finding landing sites where the underwater approach is as clean and gradual as possible. A village that happens to sit at the end of a smooth, deep water corridor into the ocean becomes extraordinarily valuable. Not because of anything the village did, because of what the geology beneath it allows. And these cables don't just carry cat videos and social media arguments. They carry financial transactions, government communications, military coordination, and the real-time data flows that keep modern economies functioning. That last point is where the story shifts from engineering marvel to strategic vulnerability. The UK Ministry of Defense exposed a coordinated Russian undersea operation involving an Akula-class nuclear-powered attack submarine targeting critical internet cables in the Atlantic. Not a hypothetical threat. A documented, active operation aimed at the physical infrastructure that carries nearly all of global internet traffic. Think about what that means. The 485 cables crossing the world's oceans are buried in international waters, largely unguarded and irreplaceable on any short timeline. Cutting a cable in the right location, or even credibly threatening to, is a form of leverage that no satellite network can currently replace. The same concentration that makes the network efficient also makes it fragile. And the floor of an ocean that no single nation owns is very difficult to defend. The undersea cable network is two stories running in parallel. The first is an engineering achievement that quietly powered the digital age, 485 cables, carrying 99% of global traffic, positioned by geology into a system that most people will never think about. The second is a strategic reality the Akula-class submarine operation made impossible to ignore. The question facing governments and infrastructure planners right now isn't whether these cables are critical. It's whether a network this central to modern life should ever have been allowed to converge in so few places with so little protection on the floor of an ocean that belongs to no one. If this kind of story is what you're here for, subscribe. We cover the infrastructure, the history, and the hidden systems that shape the world. The full article is on factstormhub.com.